G'day, standing here next to this old dead eucalypt, but it's the texture of the trunk that really grabbed my eye, and that's why we're here, just simply to admire this tree. Love texture, really does inspire me and my work. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. One of the things that I have been exploring for a long time with my wood turning is texture. I love texture, and the texture on this burnt rim of the bowl here is one such texture that I want to work with. I have worked with it in the past, and there is a bit of a secret to how you actually make sure that the burnt parts or the charcoal bits don't crumble away. They don't mark people's hands when they pick the bowl up or whatever. And it maintains all of these lovely fine cracks and all of the shapes that are made by all of these cracks. So how do I preserve it? How do I stabilise that? And the trick is using epoxy resin, some clear epoxy resin, which I've got mixed up here. But the other trick is to actually get the resin really, really, really runny. And the way we do that is by heating it up. And I'm going to use a microwave to heat just a small batch of the resin up, and then use this brush to dab it in. Now I'm just going to pour a small amount of the resin in there, because this, once I do heat it up, it will start to go off very, very quickly, so there's just a small amount in there. Over to my microwave, and I'm going to give that perhaps 10 seconds. Okay, so that's nice and hot now, so let's quickly get back here. Now this is just a cheap brush that I've got, and it's just a matter of dabbing it on here. Don't overdo it. If you put too much on, it gets very, very syrupy and not very appealing. So we're working quickly. And you can see that it's soaking beautifully into all of that charcoal, and it will stabilise it. Working really quickly, and don't overlap. So I'm pretty sure I started around about there, and that's all I need to do. When we started this video, I'd already half turned this bowl, or rough turned it I should say, and my problem is now that I actually need to finish the back of the bowl, and I have got no way to mount it on my chuck, so I'm going to have to turn a recess in here, and then we'll flip it around, finish the back off, then work on the front. In working on the back, I'll get some of these runs off, and we'll see how this stabilised charcoal holds up to the turning. So we'll work in here and turning a recess so that we can turn the bowl around. That's the size my recess needs to be. Now I can turn the bowl around. You can see that I was using contraction mode there, and now I'm just going to have to expand those jaws into that recess. Now this system works quite well if you're doing green or roughing green timber and you need to remount it, but you've got to make sure that the diameter of the inside of your bowl is big enough to get around at the size of your chuck. And now I'm ready to tidy up the back. This is my foot just here. This will be scrap. I'll take that off later on. And I just can do some shear scraping here to tidy up the bowl and refine my shape. There we go, all that torn grain is gone. I'm happy with that line in there. You can see how deep the burn has gone, so it's quite deep. All we need to do now is, sand. I've turned the back, I've sanded that to 320 grit, that's all redgum really needs. And now I can flip it around and we can see how the burnt rim stands up to some turning. And I'm going to keep this rim fairly wide. I'll just take a little bit off because I really like the look of that, and it really doesn't need to go any thinner than that, I believe. So it would be a fairly chunky bowl. Now this is the woodcut negative rake scraper. I've spoken about this before. I do have a video on this negative rake scraper, but it's a great finishing tool. It is the shape that we've got here helps beautifully to get this nice clean line. It not only helps you get a nice clean line, but it gives you a nice clean cut. You can see that you could see that the shavings come off here as we are cutting. Now they're not big shavings like you might get on some timbers, but redgum is like that. It's not going to ever produce big shavings. And here is the textured burnt rim. It's stabilised, it's not coming off. It looks dull there, but it is actually stabilised. So it's not going anywhere. Nice line in there, all I need to do is sand. So here is my final burnt rim bowl. I put one coat only of some nitrocellulose lacquer, some spray-on lacquer, and there it is, the finished product. I'm very happy with it. I love the contrast of not only the texture here, the rough burnt texture of the rim, and then the smooth texture of the rest of the timber, but I also love the contrast of the colour. So we've got the black here and the red there, and I think it works very, very nicely. This has been nicely stabilised with the epoxy resin, so this could be a seller quite easily. It's nice and hard. The charcoal isn't going to deteriorate. It's certainly not going to come off in hands when you touch it. No, that's a winner, I reckon. I hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure you keep turning safely, and I'll see you another time.